Today I fucked up by cleaning my son's room. I was cleaning my 6 years old son's room, and doing my annual purge of crap he's managed to hoard. I have this big pile of stuff to throw out in the living room, when he comes in, pulls some stupid paper butterfly out of the trash pile and tells me I can't throw this away because it was a present. He goes to a lot of birthday parties and gets a lot of goodie bags with this sort of thing, so I tell him it's junk and it's going in the trash. Besides, it's all bent up and I tell him, like a douche dad, that if he values things he should take care of them. He leaves, and some 5 minutes later he returns, visibly distraught. He's clearly been thinking hard about this. He says it was a present for you for Father's Day. I swear at that moment I heard every angel in heaven slow clapping. Edit, whoa, go to sleep, then to work, then come back to a crap ton of comments deserving of some additional context. As some hawk-eyed redditors astutely noted, it's nowhere near Father's Day, so the T in this "today I fucked up" is symbolic. This allows me to provide some more details. First, my son is 10 now. I was reminded yesterday of the incident, which of course put the pit back in the bottom of my stomach again. I thought about adding the obligatory "this wasn't today" disclaimer, but after reading the sub-rules I was convinced not to. Following the "no, it's a present for you" revelation, I apologized. Then we smoothed out the creases in the butterfly and my son took it back into his room. He ended up wrapping it up for me on Father's Day anyhow, and he was so excited to see me open the present even though I had figuratively shat all over it. It was really sweet. Here is a picture of the butterfly, taken today. It is pinned to my bedside lamp, and has been ever since that Father's Day. My mother did the same to me when, about age 10, and using my own money, I bought her an ugly ass vase with plastic strings sticking out from it at the local fair. When I gave it to her she told me she couldn't put that ugly thing out for people to see. When she later realized how hurt I was, she quietly placed it on a prominent shelf and it stayed there for about 10 years. I still don't know if she did it for me or as a reminder to herself. Probably both. My mom cleaned my room as a kid, as you do your son. Possibly as a result I became a very messy 12 to 13-year-old, and my mom stopped cleaning my room, so stuff built up for years. To teach me a lesson my dad found this perfect. Today I fucked up a huge mushroom growing outside and planted it in between the stuff on my floor. It took me 30 minutes to notice it, and when I did my first thought was I've gone too far, then yelled for my brother to help remove it cause I was scared of it. As I yelled I could hear my father laughing hysterically downstairs. My room was super clean after that until I moved out, and as an adult I'm very organized because of it. Anyway, that's the mushroom story. Apologize to your kid and maybe ask him to help you clean his room so you don't end up planting mushrooms to frighten him into submission. Edit, thank you for the gold, stranger. Awesome. Best shroom trip ever, it changed your life, bro. Core memory created, but it's blue. Pin it to the fridge. Let him know how much it means to you. He'll feel great. Then the magnet turns out to be weak, falls to the floor. He'll curse the magnet, and then it will turn out to be from Op's son. A similar incident happened with my older brother and my dad. I was 4, and my brother was 6. We went to the zoo with my dad, and by around 5 p.m., we were leaving and went to the gift shop. My dad wanted to leave quite quickly in order to avoid traffic, and my older brother was taking far too long in the shop. My dad was getting increasingly frustrated. It was 5:15 by this point. By 5:20, my brother was still looking for stuff, and my dad shouts at him. My brother starts crying and shows my dad the item he bought. Turns out it was a gift to say thanks for taking us to the zoo. My dad felt guilty as hell afterwards, still does to this day. Today I fucked up by shooting an arrow into the sky. When I was around 17-18, my friend and I were bored and decided to explore his shed for cool stuff to find. After navigating through the tons of garbage and old pool supplies, I stumbled upon a large bag. Inside was a sick hunting bow and a bunch of ferocious-looking arrows. Not those field arrows your drunk gym teacher would let you shoot out back at some styrofoam targets. These were broadhead arrows meant for hunting or fishing. The real deal, some would say. Once shooting a bunch of arrows into the shed became boring, I wanted to try something more exciting. So I yanked one of the arrows out of the shed, placed it on the string, aimed directly up into the sky and let it trip. Sweet Christ, on a gas-powered unicycle. If Robin Hood or Legolas were in attendance, they would have congratulated me on shooting the arrow up that high and out of sight. At how stupid I was. So, like normal, we ran back inside the house and prayed no one would get killed. I, for the life of me, don't know why I would do something so stupid, but the consequences of my actions came to an actualization a mere seconds after hightailing it inside. We heard the screeching brakes of a car a street behind my buddy's house. Shit, did I kill someone? A child? Someone's pet? I thought to myself. A million different scenarios and thoughts were going through my mind before going out back to see the issue. We walked through the backyard of my buddy's neighbor's house to see this bald guy wearing a cargo shorts, a Pepsi shirt and sunglasses that Neo, the Matrix, would wear to dodge bullets, obviously not arrows, as you will soon find out, in the middle of the street cussing and questioning what happened. We looked closer to see that the arrow I shot had stuck right into the roof of his pickup truck. It was only that one guy and he wasn't injured, a relief no one was seriously hurt or killed. Looking at the guy getting mad and questioning where and how the hell an arrow perfectly pierced the roof of his truck was enough to make me giggle, which caught his attention. After a few minutes of denying, arguing and me finally explaining that I was target practicing and slipped, I agreed to pay him I think $100, which was a lot for me at the time, and the neighbors who saw the whole commotion hated my buddy and I even more. The only reason the guy didn't call the cops was because I paid him cash right there and then. After he left, my friend tried to cheer me up by saying, well, that obviously wouldn't have happened to that guy if he was wearing a Coke shirt. Who the fuck likes Pepsi? Too long didn't read, shot an arrow directly into the sky without know where it would land. Ended up sticking directly into the roof of some bald guy's truck. Paid him $100, very broke at the time, to not call the cops. I almost did this. Then my dad, who was watching me, said don't do it that way, you're not aiming it straight enough. Yup, then he took the bow from me and shot an arrow straight up. We lost sight of it instantly, of course. My dad and brother just stood there watching for it. I ran and jumped into the back of our car, hoping the thin sheet metal would offer some protection. Not too long later, we heard it land in the woods we were standing next to. I still can't believe it was my dad who did it instead of warning me not to. My dad gave me thermite ingredients for Christmas a few years ago. It's a tough moment when you realize that your own parent is a bigger rascal than you. This is the weirdest coke ad I've ever seen. My little brother took my compound bow out when he was a little kid. He wasn't strong enough to pull the string unless he put his feet on the handle, laid on his back and pulled the bowstring with both hands while pushing out with his legs. He launched an arrow into the air like that, and when it fell it landed a foot in front of our neighbor who was mowing his grass on a riding mower. Neighbor mowed over the arrow. When he rode it over, it made all kinds of noise, so he got off, picked up the pieces and threw them away. This happened back in the late 80s, and to this day he doesn't know that he was inches away from death. It scared my brother so bad he never touched the bow again. I once hit a golf ball with a metal baseball bat. It rocketed off and went through the neighbor's window and wall. My dad was pissed. Through the windows, through the walls. Now my neighbor's got my ball. Skeet 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 skeet. I have a similar story, must be about 20 years ago. Was shooting arrows with my stepbrother in our backyard, which was adjacent to a golf course. We shot one arrow up in the sky, panicked, shat bricks and ran for cover, then saw a lot of commotion on the golf course. Turns out the arrow very narrowly missed a group of guys teeing off at the nearby hole. Wasn't hard for them to figure out where the arrow came from, what with our targets standing in the backyard. We apologized profusely, claimed of course that it was an accident and that it just slipped as we released. Got away with it. Never shot arrows in the backyard again. I have a similar story, but I used a scuba diver's harpoon gun. The harpoon itself was a solid steel rod, about a meter long, with a barbed trident on the end. We removed the cord that attaches the harpoon to the gun, aimed it straight up, and fired. Up it went, and we lost sight of it. This was in a very small garden in a very dense English housing estate. It had landed in a neighbor's lawn, buried deep in the grass. That was pretty stupid, I guess. Today I fucked up by being a good person. Today I was waiting in line at a university convenience store, sort of in a hurry. The girl in front of me had an absurd amount of things she was checking out. When it came time to pay, her debit card didn't go through, which prompted her to go on her phone and check the balance. She showed the cashier there was a balance, so she went to a nearby ATM to withdraw money, which didn't work either. I felt bad, because her situation must have been embarrassing, not to mention this whole thing took about 10 minutes at this point. I stepped up and offered to pay for her stuff, and she could Venmo me right after. Me, hey, I can pay for your stuff, you can just Venmo me. Pay for her $30 purchase. I don't have Venmo, do you have Cash App? Me, yeah I do, I don't remember my ID though, let me download it and see. Okay, I have to go now though, let me put my number in your phone so you can text me the ID once it downloads. She puts herself into my contacts and tells me her name. Almost a minute later I have my ID and I go to text it to her with the exact cost. The fucker already blocked me, and when I searched her Cash App by phone number, she immediately declined my request for the purchase. Can't help but think this was just an elaborate scam. He was so quick to capitalize on my generosity. Never being nice again, I guess. Edit. A lot of people have asked or assumed the girl was hot. She wasn't. Too long didn't read. I paid for some girl's stuff and she blocked me before paying me back. I'm surprised she even gave you her real number. What an unprofessional scammer. I mean, chances are, you'll run into her again. Fuck, won't that be awkward? You could probably find her based off her phone number and name. He should complain to the campus PD and convenience store. There is a risk she's done this to multiple people. If she has, she deserves to be kicked out of the school. At the very least, a tribunal or whatever they call their kangaroo court at his school might scare her straight into not stealing from others. Report it to your university. She's likely to have done this before. Oh, I'd absolutely find every social networking page for the campus and post her name, phone number, and picture if you can snag one off social media. Also use her number to sign up for some random shit. She'll be getting phone ads for decades to come.